everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Joyful Money Podcast. I am very, very happy because I have a special guest. Not only is she a special guest, over the years, she's become an amazing friend, someone I look up to. She's actually been on the podcast before. So she's been on episode number 24, and I'm going to link that in the show notes. Welcome to the show, Camille. Well, Dr. Camille Upchurch. Welcome to the show.
So nice to be back with you. Thank you so much, Joy.
So exciting. So for the person listening who hasn't listened to episode number 24, and they're going to listen after this, but for now, introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Sure. So I'm a life coach and a money coach, and I'm also a physician. And the way that I got an interest in personal finance, building wealth, is that when I was done with medical school, like many doctors in the US, I had over $200,000 worth of debt. I had very little financial literacy at the time, none. And I started out my career getting more debt in the way of a mortgage, consumer debt with credit cards. And I was very much not at ease with it. I knew that I wanted to build real wealth, but I didn't know how. And I knew I wanted to stop accruing more debt and becoming, building my debt, but I didn't know how. So I started reading a lot about it. I started on a journey. Fast forward, I was able to get rid of all my consumer debt and student loans. The last $100,000 I actually paid off in 7 months. And over time, built a great deal of confidence about my own personal finance, and built a seven-figure portfolio that includes some real estate. I just love educating women who are ready for a transformation, help them on their way with their journey.
Oh gosh, I love that so much. First of all, it's an amazing work you're doing in the world because I see your work on Instagram and the impact you're making. And I'm going to link your Instagram account in the show notes so that people can go follow you. Now, many people are usually ashamed that they don't have financial literacy. So I love that you said when you finished from medical school and you had all these debts, you didn't know how to like pay off your debt and start building wealth. So what would you say to women who are listening and they feel like they're ashamed that they haven't figured out their money yet?
It's so interesting because I think for a lot of the best work that we have to do on this earth as women, as humans, unfortunately, there's shame and embarrassment linked to it because of what we don't know.
Mm,
So now that I've made the journey, I understand that for me, that was the entrance and the path into my biggest passion, a
mm,
huge passion. I have a passion for medicine. I also have a passion for finance, wealth building, and how money is used as a tool. But when I was in medical school, when I was in debt, at that time, because of society messaging, I linked my debt and what I didn't know with a lot of shame and embarrassment. And that's really normal. People don't walk around going, oh, I have six-figure debt and I don't know anything about money. But, and very interestingly, I got together with some of my girlfriends from medical school while we were in medical school. The black and brown girls would get together and have potlucks. And we got together, and a classmate of mine said, oh, I looked forward to those potlucks back then, because that's when I would eat. You all were so rich and I was poor. And I was thinking, wow, I didn't have a lot of money. I may have looked a certain way, but I had no confidence about finances. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to get rid of my debt. And she didn't have a lot of money. We weren't talking to each other. So we're there alone in silence, in some ways, creating suffering for ourselves just by not being able to create that bond. So I do want people to know that it's not necessary to link this journey of money, learning, wealth building to shame and embarrassment. It may be one of the best things, one of the best journeys that you have to do in life.
yes, I still believe that because I feel like my money journey has helped me with personal development because when you have a money goal or you have something you want to do around your finances, it begins to bring up all of these personal, I want to say, I don't want to say dungeon, like black hole, right? That you then need to walk through to get to where you want to be. So I see that Camille, you're creating like a safe space for professional women to come to learn without judgment in a very loving environment. And even before I hit the record button here, you were talking about your professional group on Meetup. And I love that so much. Is that something you want to talk about? Because I also want to talk about your one-on-one program and how that works, because many people listening want to take the next step. So you want to talk about your Meetup group, and then we go to you, how you help people one-on-one.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. So I created a community on Meetup, and it is exactly what you described. It's a space where women who want to learn more about paying off debt fast, not lingering in it, right? Who want to, whether it's student loan debt or consumer debt, a place where they can come. I also spend some time talking about wealth building, saving, investing, and the basics about that. It's on meetup.com. The name of the group is Professional Women's Debt Free Group. And I just prepare topics. So, for example, the first topic this year will be about paying off credit card debt fast and paying less in interest, the ways to do that. One of the other topics will be paying off student loans. And then I think the second topic in January is actually saving and investing. So I coach during that call. Women will sometimes have like a money question or bring up a mindset issue, and I'll address it during that talk. And I just love that group. And so that's on meetup.com.
I love that so much. I love that you weave in the mindset element, because like anyone could get a book on Amazon about financial literacy, right? Like we know, oh, I shouldn't spend more than I earn, and then I should save and invest. On paper, we all know that. But people still struggle, right? So why do you think this is, based on your experience?
That question is so deep. I think number one, we don't know what we don't know. So I know in my situation, I had a mother who was very highly educated. She was an educator, master's level training, but she didn't have financial literacy. And she taught me everything she knew about money. So I found myself repeating her habits. So that lack of knowledge, sometimes it can be through just generational learning. That can be one of the reasons that it takes people so long and why they don't put things into practice. Another thing can be keeping up with appearances. So, like, you know what to do, but how are you going to do it when you need to keep up with this person over here and you don't have the money in the bank? Just pull out the credit card, right? And then I think just the basics of habits, just having certain habits and not knowing how to address the mindset piece, that the journey of getting rid of debt can be a fun journey. It should be a fun journey. If it's all pain and doing what you don't want to do and restricting yourself, it won't work. You'll
Mhm.
stop, right? We avoid things that cause us pain. And so how do you make that journey fun? And so I spend a lot of time on the mindset part, teaching my clients how to have fun, have joy, experience happiness, contentment, a really full life while you're getting rid of debt. And in getting rid of debt, you're increasing your net worth and doing a lot of positive things for yourself.
Oh gosh, I love that. Like you just described joyful money. So you're helping people to create wealth in a joyful way. I think that's so important, because the reason why many people start and stop is because they're depriving themselves. So they go, oh gosh, no more eating out, no more fancy handbags, no more nice things in life. And then they feel like they're depriving themselves. So I love how you are helping the professional women you work with have balance, enjoy life, and also build wealth. That's so cool.
Yeah, I believe and understand that like the joy in our life, the contentment, the happiness we have, it doesn't come from money. It's
Mm,
really two separate things. So you can have no money and be very joyful and content, and you
mm.
can be very wealthy and be miserable. They're two separate things. But a lot of times we put them together. And so unless we're spending money, we can't have joy. And if we're not spending money, that means we're going to be miserable. That's not true at all. So that brings up a lot of thoughts for me, but I'll just stop there.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I think that's the crux of it, right? Because you just nailed it on the head, because many people think that spending money brings you happiness. And I think that's why many people are robbed of the joy of life, because they have this money goal. Let's say they want to make $1 million, and they're so fixated on the $1 million. And then on the journey, let's say it takes them 5 years, and then that's 5 years of their lives wasted being miserable because they are chasing the money. And then they get to the $1 million and they're like, where's my happiness?
You know, one of my clients, she said to me in a session, she was like, "So how do I pay off this debt and not restrict myself?" And I said, "Wow, that's such an interesting question because when you were creating this debt, the debt is the same amount of money that you make every year, right? When you were creating the debt, you weren't thinking, this creating this debt is restricting me. You weren't
Mhm.
thinking that, right? But now that you're going to get rid of the debt, free up your income so that you can invest, save, become wealthy. Now on this journey, you're questioning, how can I not restrict myself? The restriction really is in the creating of the debt and learning how to have a rich life without debt. That's what's freeing. You show up different on a job when you're like, I have money in the bank. I'm not here because without this job, I can't eat. That's not why I'm here. I'm here because this is my passion. This is what I'm good at. This is what I'm excellent at. And if this is not the job for me, I'll get another one. We show up in giving spaces differently. Like, this means something to me. I'm going to put some money into this thing. We show up in a lot of different places differently when we have wealth. But when we're burdened by debt, our options are narrow. The way we look at things through this lens of scarcity is narrower. And so it really is restrictive having six-figure debt, which is what I focus on, right? Versus being debt free, getting your check and doing with it what you want.
Yes. And that's so profound. And I think it goes to what society portrays, right? Like, people think that being happy is being flashy with wealth. Being happy is being in a bigger house, because all of the things we see on social media, on TV, right? So it's almost like you are rewiring people's brains differently to see that you can actually have fun, be happy in life, and not tied to money. I love that so much, Camille. So tell us about your program. How does it work? How do you help people go from confused about money, struggling with money, being in huge debt, to becoming free, happy, and debt free?
Sure. So I mainly work with women in outside of the meetup. I work with women one on one. And so I meet each woman where she is and with what her pain point is. And most of my clients, they are in debt and they're on a journey to becoming debt free. Some of my clients don't have a lot of debt. That's not their biggest concern. Their biggest concern is, how can I save more? How can I invest better? But in I meet with them. I do a free 60-minute sales call. In that call, we talk with each other and I get a good understanding of what that woman's problems are, what her goals are as far as her financial situation. Frankly, for some, it's not even the money, it's the mindset about the money. But whatever it is, we create a plan about how to attack it. And then in weekly sessions, I meet with my clients and we work through the different issues, attacking the main pain point first and building a customized plan for each client.
Wow, I love that, because you are kind of marrying financial literacy, the actual financial literacy, with mindset. I think that's where the transformation happens. Because obviously there are financial advisors everywhere, but still there is a space for financial coaching, which is what you do,
Yes, and
Camille.
thanks for pointing that out. So a lot of the content of what we'll do in each session, part of it will be money mindset, and then part of it will be the strategies and the things to do. And so we do both of them.
Okay. So it sounded like, if someone is interested to move forward, the first step is this amazing free consultation you're offering for 1 hour to help them walk through where they're at and what their goals are.
It
Correct?
is, and that alone, that call by itself, that free call will be valuable, because in that call, I'm going to let that woman know, like, this is the next step. These are the next steps. Usually I give them like three things. These are the things that you need to work on to get to where you're going. And if we're working together, this is how we'll work on it. So the call is valuable in that way. Sometimes just sitting and talking through, this is what my problem is, brings so much awareness for the clients, to see, okay, this is what I'm doing that I need to change. This is what's getting in my way. So, yeah, I definitely recommend that 60-minute call for anybody who's interested.
Yes. And many times this would be the first time that someone would talk about their money. And I find that in the first session, people break down their emotional and so like you said, it's a hugely valuable um offering you're bringing into the world. And so listeners, I encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity that Camille is offering, to just make 2025 the year that you finally deal with your debt and have a plan. Like sometimes just having a plan is enough to reduce the anxiety, the stress, right?
You probably know, Joy, but women literally lose sleep. Some women cannot sleep because of the burden. They don't know where to start. They just don't know what to do. And I have been there personally. I know what it's like. And it is my absolute joy to walk a woman through, this is how you'll get to where you're going. Sometimes what gets in the way is not even thinking it's possible. When I talk about, yeah, I paid off all my consumer debt, I never use debt anymore. Let me show you how. If you want to buy a car, you just walk in. That's a thrill. You need a car, walk in, give them a check, take your car, and that's the end of it. That's the kind of life that I see for my clients. And sometimes just not even understanding that it is so possible, and it's not necessarily as hard as you think it is. It's easy, it can be a fun journey, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm happy to spend the time showing you. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I love this so much. So the links will be in the show notes, guys. If you're listening on the podcast, and it will be in the description if you're watching on YouTube. Camille, before I let you go, tell me and tell us, how do you do all of this and still have a job as a doctor and still be an amazing mom and an amazing wife?
It's funny because they pull from different energies for me. So, I trained for a long time to be a physician. I can say at this point in my career, I'm really good at it. I get a lot of gratification when I show up at the hospital. I'm taking care of patients. Working in my business, and for a long time I kept this like a secret. I'd be coaching my colleagues at work, like, as a secret, don't let anybody know this is what I'm doing, right? Because I was trained as a doctor. Now in my 50s, I'm like, look, this is who I am. I'm good at the medicine. I'm good at the money. Let's talk about it. My calendar keeps things straight for me and keeps me from getting, I make sure that I'm feeding, nurturing my family, because my family is relatively young. My youngest is 12, so I want to know that I'm spending time with them, doing things that are important to them. So I definitely have time. That's the more important part of what I do, is being a mom and a wife. And then my calendar keeps the rest organized when I'm coaching and when I'm at work.
Wow. I just heard very briefly that you say you are in your 50s. Please, can you give me the pill you're taking? How do you know this?
Well, yeah. Thank you very much. I'll just take it. That's another thing. I am on a journey myself with my health. I don't have any health problems or anything, but I want to be more active and nourish my body in a really meaningful way. So when we're done, I'm off to the gym to meet my personal trainer, and I decided this year, I'm putting money into that to help me with that part of my life that I need some coaching in.
Oh gosh, I love it so much. So I'm gonna give you if I want you to have the last word. Someone is listening right now, they are struggling with their money. They feel like they're in a dark hole, they don't know how to get out of. What do you want to say to that person?
Well, first, I want to suggest something that may or may not sound realistic, but um, I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, and where you are now, regardless of your religion, right? Where you are now is exactly where you're meant to be. It's the place from which you're going to get the most growth and learn the things you need to learn so that the rest of your life's journey is the way that it's meant to be. I think we cause ourselves pain when we're in a certain place and we're thinking, I shouldn't be here. This shouldn't be happening. I should be somewhere else. So that's first. If you can just gain an appreciation of you're in the money place that you are, because that's where you need to be. Whether it's because there are lessons you need to learn, there are gifts and talents you have that you need to put to use for whatever the reason, may not be clear to you now, but this is where you need to be. No shame, no embarrassment. Second, you don't have to do it alone in a dark corner. For so long, women have been literally the property of men, right? We were owned by our dads in history. Then our hand was given to our husband and we were owned by men. We never had the right to have our own property. We live in a time now when things are different, when we come into relationships or into just fulfilling our own life, where we can be just as knowledgeable, just as skillful with our money. You don't have to do it alone. Reach out. I'm really good at this stuff. I love helping women. And even if we decide not to work together, I'm happy to point you in the direction if you take advantage of the sales call. Also, Joy, for anybody who's listening, my program runs for 3 months. It's 12 sessions, but for anybody who references this podcast, you'll get 2 additional sessions.
Well, that is so generous and so kind. Um, I love that so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the work you're doing. Thank you for blazing the trail, right? And showing women that they can manage their finances and be wealthy. So thank you for the work you're doing. I'm going to have all of those links in the show notes for my audience to take advantage. I am so excited for 2025 and I'll continue to follow your journey and to cheer you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you too, Joy. Thank you for all the good you're putting into the world. I've learned so much from you and I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. If you have enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe and leave me a review. Share this episode with a friend to spread the message of hope, abundance, and possibility. And if you're ready to take the next step to amplify your voice, attract premium clients, and create consistent income, head on over to my website, www.joyroland.com, to learn more about my Joyful Money program or grab one of my free resources. Remember, making money can be joyful, and your story is powerful. Until next time, keep showing up, sharing your voice, and building the business of your dreams. Your voice is your power. Sending you lots of love, joy, peace, and light. Bye for now.